My name is Brian Pillman Jr., and you're watching Dre 41 Gaming. Now, I'm a little partial to this gaming channel because 41 is my magic number. It was my number in football, and it was my father's football number. So you can bet that Brian Pillman Jr. is going to be tuning in to Dre 41 Gaming only on YouTube.
What's up, y'all? It is your boy Drake 41, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. And on today's show, my co-host is Ken Washington. What's going on, man?
I am doing good now that my tonsils aren't trying to kill me. Well, at least for the moment. So,
Oh, sick boy. Uh-oh.
I ain't sick. It just I might probably have to have them removed.
Ooh, this late in life. Sheesh.
Hey man, listen, that DC shrimp tried to kill me about a month ago, and they ain't been right ever since. So.
Those crab cakes, they did
it. No, and I'll do it again, damn it.
I hear that. So on this episode today, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get straight to it. Y'all see what the thumbnail is. Our top 5 favorite wrestlers. Now, should we? Because I wrote mine down. But should we, take turns? Like, are we saying which in order, or are we just saying out of order, however way we want to put it?
It's hard for me to put my 5 into a specific order. Mm-hmm. Like, they could all be number 1 for me. So we could just talk about them as we talk about them. Because I got mine listed out too. Okay,
cool. So, all right, let's do that. So I'll let you go first with yours, and then we switch back and forth.
All right. So I'm going to start with my very first one, who, well, for a while, my personal call was modeled after, and that was Ron Simmons.
Rookie.
Oh, yeah. But no, this was back when he had that soul glow in his hair and that band.
Oh, you mean what you used to have?
Hey, calm down. Let's not talk about that. Those was rough times.
Yeah.
Listen. Hey man, he was the first Black world champion. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it was something about him when I was watching him way back then in WCW. I just gravitated to him because there weren't a lot of them back then. And you can tell I'm not exactly the lightest person in the world. So being a wrestling fan, I needed somebody to hold on to, and him, he was the one. He had that charisma.
I mean, you tell me.
I'm trying to put. That'd probably be the best word for it, charisma. I just like the way he handled himself, and then seeing him win the world title. I lost my voice when he won the world title.
Because he won it in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, lost my voice. I lost my mind too. I thought I was gonna die that night.
Bugged out. So I mean, in regards to his career, what was some of besides him winning the world title, what was the other highlights of his that you enjoyed?
His Nation of Domination run. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even about the gimmick itself. I just think that was another one where they put the right person in the right spot because it made sense for him. Like when he came in there with the whole garb and everything, it made sense for him to be the leader. Mm-hmm. He had a look to him that made it believable. Because he's always been just, stocky, big, just like you believe that when that fist goes up, like, yes, sir, that's you. And his APA run, I mean, I'm not the biggest Bradshaw fan, I'll be honest, but his run with JBL, hey, when that music hit, damn, my shirt's in the room, but when that music hit, I had that shirt and I was walking around the same way. He put the Dominator on the map. I love Lashley too, but he put the Dominator on the map.
Absolutely. And the spine buster too.
His spine buster is so rude.
Yeah, it's like he pushed you to the ground.
He assisted you to the ground. He made sure you made it. Yeah. Violence included, but he made sure you made it.
Yeah, you're gonna flat back this one for sure.
Yeah. Make sure them arms is right because it's gonna hurt if it don't. But yeah, that's how I got stuck on Ron. And I did follow him all the way through his career. I have his damn shirt, the APA one. I gotta find one with Ron Simmons, and he's back there. Shoot, there he is. right next to The Rock and hiding behind Roman. And it's the one where he has the WCW title. So, yeah.
Sky with the sky blue tights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm actually working on making that attire for him because the ones we're not going there. We're not. Nope.
No, let's not do that.
All right. So yeah, go ahead, sir.
All right. So my first one and my top 5 would have to be the Great Muta. For me, the Great Muta is and if people don't know who the Great Muta is, you must have been living under a rock because he's still wrestling to this day. He's been wrestling since the 80s. Okay. He is the Japan equivalent to the Undertaker, I would say. That's what I always compare him to people who don't, know who the Great Muta is. Yeah. He's been able to reinvent himself throughout 30 years in wrestling. From the early days of the NWA where he was, facing off against Sting, and they say he was from the Orient. Ooh, boy, different times. Ooh, boy. With the face paint, the poison mist, creating the Shining Wizard, to wearing the masks, to having multiple characters, not just the Great Muta, but Kokeshi Muso, Keiji Muto, being in the NWO, you know what I'm saying? Starting his own company, multiple championships, Triple Crown. I mean, this man has faced off against Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's done it all. Like, this guy is a top guy in Japan. And you probably most recently seen him in Impact Wrestling. Impact has a great relationship with New Japan. They were able to get the Great Muta on there multiple times. And it's just his character. It's bold. His character stands out. It's colorful. You know what I'm saying? His mannerisms change based on the character that he's portraying. Some of the best moments that I was able to see was him joining the NWO on Nitro. Him winning the tag team championships with Vampiro on Nitro. I mean, that was good to see him win the championship. A championship is a championship, especially when the character doesn't speak English or doesn't speak English well. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see a character like that you gravitate towards win a championship. And just being able to look back at his older matches. I mean, man, when he was the Great Muta going up against Jushin Thunder Liger, and he tore off like Liger's upper outfit, and it was like a dark a Liger, and it was what he had, like a sickle. It was crazy. Like it didn't even make sense. I don't understand it, but I loved it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll have to say the Great Muta, Keiji Muto, either or, is definitely in my top 5.
Of course. I mean, I got on the Muta train a little late because I was broke. But when I finally figured out what Japan wrestling was about, Great Muta is up there. But my second one, since we're over across the lake somewhere, we'll go ahead and throw out my man Minoru Suzuki. That man, the murder grandpa. He's been wrestling for a long time.
Not even just that, MMA too.
Yeah, but he is a stiff. Like the match that he had with Samoa Joe on AEW, like I was just like they just started out just like hammering each other. How are you this old just taking these hits like this?
Yo, that he was born into the violence.
And he was, and that's I don't know what made me really and his theme song is, I mean, he's had it his entire career. Like they if you don't sing it when he comes out, he'll probably come find you. And I don't want that, so I'll sing it from the house. Like he's not going to come to my house and beat me down. But he's got that believable violence to him. Like I don't want to see him in the streets for any reason.
Yeah, no,
like, not without some heat on my hip.
Wow, you gonna clap Minoru Suzuki? That's
the only way I'm winning that fight.
Damn, that's what we're promoting violence. Okay.
No, we're not.
This video will be taken down.
We're not promoting violence. We're promoting self-defense in case he tries to attack. And there we go. But I don't know. when the first match I remember seeing him in, it was just it was like how stiff he worked. And something about it, I was just like, I like that. Like it felt like a hardcore match without being a hardcore match. Because they didn't leave the ring. They were just chopping and slapping the shit out of each other. Like that's long before Walter or Gunter or whatever he calls himself now. It's long before he was around. Like that's all you saw was just, and that was when they had the like sweat would really like pop off of them when you hit them. And it'd just be like, and it had me glued. I was just like, I'm watching.
Okay. Have you ever seen the match where it was a tag team match? Mustache Mountain versus Suzuki Gun. Have you ever seen that?
I have not seen that one.
He chopped Trent Seven so hard it knocked him out.
You see what I'm saying?
It was so funny when I seen it. It's on YouTube. You could definitely find it.
I gotta go see that one.
Hilarious. Literally, like Trent Seven was just like, "Go ahead, chop me as hard as you can," and he did.
Okay.
And he just froze and fell. It was hilarious.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to go watch that when we're done here because that sounds like the kind of Minoru violence that I've come to enjoy and love from him.
It's hilarious. Yeah, no, he is definitely up there. I mean, you never think that he deserved to win a championship?
So my favorites don't, although most of them have had like world titles, it's kind of like a sports favorite to me. Like you don't necessarily have to have had it to have found your way into, like if you can find that place to where I feel like I need to watch your matches, like I need to find your matches, then I don't necessarily care if you have the title. Like it is I guess that's because you kind of know what the titles mean now.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, hey, you can carry the company, but you can also carry the company without titles as well. And I think Minoru is like a heavy embodiment of that. Because he was like, even with the ROH TV title, he was just a paper champion to pass it on to Joe.
Yeah.
But the match he had with Joe
was a good match. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great match. So for him, and Ron too, they didn't necessarily have to have a title in order for me to gravitate towards their matches.
Okay. All right. So that's not in any particular order, but that's your second.
Yeah, that's my second of five.
Yeah, second. All right. So for me, we're gonna keep this one in Japan. I'm gonna go with Hayabusa. Now, Hayabusa more or less is almost the same as the Great Muta. In a shorter span of time. He was definitely able to reinvent himself. Within the span of probably less than 5 years, he went through multiple characters. I mean, he's like a high-flying, hardcore version of Mick Foley. I mean, you got, I can't even say his real name, but he got the H character, dark side of Hayabusa, the regular Hayabusa, the strange one where he was wearing like really short white jean shorts that was very odd, but to each his own.
It worked, I guess.
I mean, yeah, and also he was in this crazy match with Mr. Ganotsuke. I can't even say his name right either. I gotta look at it to read it right, or to say it right. And the special referee was Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels was treating it like a normal one-on-one match when it was a hardcore match. And like he was counting, and Hayabusa was like, "No DQ, no DQ." Like, why are you counting, Sean? Are you high? Probably was. This was late '90s.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Or them.
Yeah. He wasn't in WWF at the time, so there you go.
Oh yeah, no, he was probably
Yeah, he was on all the drugs. But yeah, Hayabusa, man, because he was high flying. Not maybe, but definitely to his detriment, he was high flying. But he was exciting to watch. Colorful character, different masks. I mean, in this time, like if he was to exist now, he would be like, for me personally, if he knew English, he'd be right up there with Rey Mysterio. I mean, with just the colorful outfits, the high flying, the acrobatics, you know what I'm saying? Just the look of him. was something that you could put on a T-shirt, make as a toy, put in the video game, and people will automatically, yo, who was that? You know what I'm saying? And just exciting matches that he had, not just against Asushi Onita, but matches that he had against Sabu. He had a great rivalry with Sabu. Great matches against Masato Tanaka, Mike Awesome. I mean,
that's who I was thinking about at first. I was like, Hayabusa is like Sabu with a mask.
See, I could see how people say that because their pants look almost the same and they both wear a sash.
I wasn't thinking about that. I was talking about how, like, when Hayabusa goes flying.
Mm. Yo, I remember seeing this match with him and Jushin Liger, right? Jushin was just coming out for his entrance, and literally Hayabusa just swan dived on him with his entrance gear on, and Jushin has
just pure psycho, just
go for it. It don't even matter. Like,
he said to his detriment sometime, and
it
Sabu was the same way. He just, to his detriment, he would just throw himself at whatever was in front of him.
Funny enough, there was a time where Sabu actually wore the Hayabusa mask. I'm surprised nobody has ever made him with that attire, but you know, whatever, it's fine.
Sounds like you got work to do.
So Hayabusa is definitely up there for me. I mean, he was the top guy in FMW, the top. Him and Asushi Onita, right there. I would give it a little bit more to Hayabusa only because he probably was more marketable than Onita, and just a colorful character overall.
Yeah.
Even to this day, you get to see a lot of people emulate his moves. Seth Rollins with the Phoenix Splash, you know, also known as the Flair 450. You know, you get to see a lot of people, you know, Jericho doing the Lion Soul. That, you know, that was Hayabusa's thing. You know, the springboard swanton, that was a Hayabusa thing, you know? So Hayabusa definitely up there for me as one of my top 5.
Okay. All right. So across the pond we stay, because my third one is Jushin himself.
Oh, okay.
Because, man, like Muta, Hayabusa, this man has fought everywhere and everyone, and I can't think of a bad match that I've seen of his. I mean, he's probably had a couple, but
I can name some strange ones I've seen.
I didn't say they weren't strange. I just said they weren't bad. But Jushin, I got to meet him at a show here in North Carolina once, and I don't know. I've only been starstruck, like, I think I've told you this before. I've only been starstruck like 3 times in my life, and that was one of them. Like, I don't. It was the horns, the way he came out to the ring, and then his rivalries and his moves. He was sometimes a little reckless, but
yeah. But they took chances.
Yeah, they took chances, and it worked for him. And he was the one that got. Because for the longest time, I thought that he was a luchador, like a regular luchador.
Wow.
I was young. So, you know, I'm seeing him versus Ray, and I'm like, he's mad. No, I don't. Okay. But the matches were good.
Yeah.
And again, levitated me towards him. I didn't need him to have a title as long as he could put on those shows.
But he had all the titles.
Yeah, he did at one point.
You can't even say he didn't need to have the title. He had all of them.
He had every one of them, just like, just decorated.
Yeah, like
that was the background on my computer for a while. It was just him with all the belts, the original belt collector.
Yeah. Well, him and Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah. But Ultimo, to me, Ultimo fell off because he was up there on my list. He fell off when he tried that. I think it was that WWE run, and it was just.
That's not his fault.
Okay.
Just gonna put it out there. It's fine. Let's not worry about it. Was you happy to see him in make that NXT match?
Who's that?
Liger.
Oh, I thought you were still on Ultimo. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, that was good to see. I was happy to see that. I was just mad they didn't use his music. You know,
WWE
WWE always has to own every little thing. Every little, like, dude, use his regular music.
That's a whole nother podcast right there. Talking about whatever this is going on with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, let's keep it on the topic.
Yeah. Let's talk off camera about that.
So that's your pick.
That's my third one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mine, for many reasons, two particular ones that I run with, and you never really got to hear a lot of wrestlers even say this before. My next pick, which is CM Punk. CM Punk, the straight edge savior. You know what I'm saying? Where his whole heel persona started with, and here's the funny thing, I got on him right before he left Ring of Honor. So I was like, oh, yo, this dude CM Punk, he got this whole thing where, you know, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, and he's better than you. I wonder who else says that he's better than people now, using the same thing. But
wow.
You know, and this is just like, that was such a cool character. And it was like, oh, he signed with WWE. Oh, okay, cool. So I'm gonna get to see him. And I ain't seen him for a while. I was like, well, I guess he ain't going nowhere. But then he made his debut. He smoked Just Incredible's boots on his debut.
The WWE ECW.
Yeah, they did Just Incredible filthy in that match.
They did him absolutely filthy.
Like, they let CM Punk shine, I think, too much. Like, they washed Just Incredible. Like, I would have been like, make it, you know, a tough match, but, you know, CM Punk still wins. No, just go out there and watch Just Incredible and just leave it as that. But just his character was something different, where it was just like, he came in, you know, I don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs, and I'm here for competition. And that was something that I gravitated towards, because I don't smoke or drink, don't do drugs or anything like that. So it was like a character who was like that and won and wasn't considered a bad guy. I was just like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Like, I like that, because he could go out, he could wrestle, and he could cut promos. And then it was just like, as he built his character up and, you know, went back and forth with, you know, Jeff Hardy and became a heel and did the Straight Edge Society, that just built his character up even more, because he went from an indie darling to now, you know, a WWE superstar. You know what I'm saying? Because they always got to have that character change where it's like larger than life and completely unbelievable. Like, first off, if he really started a cult, the federal government would come after him eventually for some reasons.
Well, I don't know. You know, WWE likes to do attempted murders.
Yeah, it's amazing what they do.
And a whole bunch of stuff.
Necrophilia, all sorts of nice things. They don't even care. It's fine. When he was able to evolve into that, and then the Best in the World, which was like the ultimate form, like that was his Super Saiyan God mode Saiyan form, where it was just like he was known everywhere. The Cult of Personality song that got him, you know, super over and recognized, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like right there, it was just like, yo, like y'all got a monster on your hands. And, you know, just like when he cut promos about his frustration, and the pipe bomb promo was like, you really felt it because it felt real. You know what I'm saying? Like he made that promo not sound like a promo, but like he's coming from the heart. You know, so that was always something that I gravitated towards.
I feel like he's in AEW now. Like it's hard to, and I'm enjoying his run so much in AEW, because it's a lot harder in AEW to blur the lines with him.
Yeah,
when it's actually CM Punk and when it's his real self. Like,
right. Like
his whole thing with MJF.
Oh,
like,
amazing.
I was glued to the screen.
Like they brought it to where like you don't really, because a lot of the times they don't sit there, like sometimes wrestlers be like, oh, I grew up watching you, but they don't make it personal. You know what I'm saying?
That
like,
got real personal, and
you know, and it was
just like it was the way it made you feel. I mean, the promo battles between, because both of them can talk. Oh Lord,
yes. And it's like MJF stepped out of just being a heel, and he like really showed emotion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that right there was a huge thing, because it was like, wait a minute, like maybe he like really feels some type of way. Like, yo, like you, like I believed in you, you helped me get through my days, and you left, and that messed me up. You feel me? Like who does that in professional wrestling, where they say, yo, like I was messed up because you stopped wrestling. You feel me? Like it's stuff that you have not seen, and CM Punk, I think, brings that out in the top performers. Yeah, there are people that he just wrestles that he's not in a program with, but when he sets his sights on a storyline, it means so much. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
And CM Punk will always be, within my top 5. Like I said, just the man has been able to evolve, switch up his character, and just be one of those top performers. He doesn't have to have a 5-star match because he has that character, but he also has a great move set too. So yeah, that's
even though Kenta keeps calling him about wanting his move back.
It is Kenta's. We're gonna put it out there. It is Kenta's.
We won't talk about that though.
We'll leave that one alone. But yeah, that's my third pick. CM Punk.
So with my fourth one, I'm gonna go back to WCW just a bit because this was when I got introduced to him, and that was a good old Diamond Dallas Page. Listen, I had taken a break from watching wrestling for a while, and that was right before I moved down to North Carolina. And right as we moved down to North Carolina, I didn't know anybody, so I didn't have nothing to do. And we had some bootleg cable that the landlord had put through the house. Like, it was bootleg. We weren't paying for it. We didn't even know we had it. We just plugged up a TV and was like, oh shit, there's cable. And the first thing I saw was Nitro. And I was like, well, I ain't watched wrestling in about a year and a half. Let me see what's going on. And the first match I see is DDP coming out there with Kimberly, and he had that damn cigar in his mouth. And it was just the walk and the hair flowing everywhere and the way the crowd just got behind him. And I was like, who is this? And then they started with the whole NW, and it was like him and Sting versus the NWO until Sting joined the Wolfpack, which was, I don't want to talk about that. But so then it was like DDP versus the NWO. And I remember watching when he put on the shirt, and I got so mad. I'm 14, 13, somewhere in there. And he put on the shirt, and I felt it. Like, I got mad. I was like, bro, I love it.
We were on the same age. Hold on. I don't think you was 14 when he joined the NWO.
Somewhere in that area.
You were probably younger.
No. It was like 98, 99. Because he put
you
on
were 14 and 98?
I don't remember. I'm old. Leave me alone.
98. Maybe you were a little bit older, but yeah.
I'm 85.
Then you definitely wasn't a teenager when they joined the NWO.
Bruh.
You definitely wasn't.
Because I didn't move down. I moved down here.
You got to think about it. The Wolfpack was, let's take it from a video game aspect. The Wolfpack was in Mayhem, and Mayhem came out in 99. So, they made that game a year prior. So that was like 98. In 98, you were not a teenager.
All right, man. I'll take it. Anyway, whenever, I told you I'm old. Anyway, whenever it was, I do remember, and he went to put on the shirt. I got so hostile. Like, I was screaming at the TV, and my mom thought that something was wrong with me. And then he pulled in, I think it was Scott Hall, and gave him the diamond cutter.
Yep.
And then all hell broke loose. And it was the way he could hit the diamond cutter. As simple as a cutter as it was, the multitude of ways that he could deliver that cutter. And then the match he had with Goldberg that got cut off, and boy, that was a match. That was a match up. He'll always have a spot. And plus, he was old. He was aged when.
Listen, he was your age, just starting. So don't say he was old.
I'm old, hell. Anyway, he was in his late 30s, and he was just running around. I didn't know that at the time. Like, I wasn't until I got older. I was like, God, I thought he was like younger than that, spry in the way he was moving around the ring.
Right.
But he won his world title, and he was holding it upside down. I don't know why that messed with me so bad, but it did. I was like, turn the belt over, sir, please. And he was just holding it. He was just happy to have it. And I remember that title win, and it just, I don't know, it kept me on the DDP train until he went to WWE. WWE seems to ruin a lot of the people that
Yeah.
like. They fed him to the Undertaker.
No, they definitely did. I mean, the storyline started out okay, but it was like, hey, why is he worried about being a stalker? Like, why? Like, listen, I'm not going to sit there and say anything, but Undertaker's wife at the time was not, but, whatever,
She looked like him.
Yeah.
She was rough.
Yeah, she was.
I wouldn't have been stalking.
I'd have been like, keep me away from her. Keep her away from me.
Oh, man. Yeah, go ahead with your next one.
Oh, goodness. All right, so my next one, a lot of the choices that I choose for my top five always are because, number one, they've been in the business for a long time and they were able to evolve their characters. You always appreciate that because they stay within the times and they know when to evolve and their character doesn't get stale. My next pick is going to have to be the King of Kings, the Game, Triple H.
Yeah,
now, people probably they thinking like, yo, wait a minute, Triple H, like, no, look, Triple H did a lot for the business. I mean, he gave us the best years of NXT.
That I'll give him.
You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Wing was gone for that reason.
Yo, he gave us the new generation of DX, which spawned, one of the greatest tag teams that I ever watched in my life. But let's stick with Triple H. So initially, what brought me
Kane and X-Pac? Sorry.
Stop. Oh, wow. You being disrespectful. You are being disrespectful. Sir. One.
Respectfully.
Right. You're right. So initially it was because he was a Connecticut blue blood, right? So I'm like, damn, a wrestler from Connecticut, which he really wasn't from Connecticut, but it's fine. For me, because I'm from Connecticut, I'm going to gravitate towards a wrestler from Connecticut. So I'm just like, oh, yeah, we're both from Connecticut. He's rich and got women to open the ropes for him so he can walk in. It's cool. I'm going to run with him. Even if he's a bad guy, I got to run with him because he's from Connecticut. First and foremost, right?
That loyalty.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, he's not even on the Broncos anymore, and I still got his jersey. Shout out to Von Miller. So, then he evolved his character, and he got after the curtain call, he got set up with Shawn Michaels. Now they're a faction, and now they're D-Generation X. Now as D-Generation X, now, they're heels, they're the bad guys, and even then I'm still gravitating towards him. And now he's running with Shawn Michaels, who's the top guy. So it's like now he's getting these high-profile matches, which is good. You know what I'm saying? And I always appreciated the fact that he was always in storylines with Shawn Michaels, whether if he, of course, he was second fiddle to Shawn Michaels. I mean, who wouldn't be? You know what I'm saying? But you still knew he had talent. It wasn't like a situation where it was like a Marty Jannetty and they don't know what to do with him. You know what I'm saying? Then when Shawn Michaels left and Triple H became the leader of D-Generation X, and then he brought in X-Pac, then he got the New Age Outlaws, which to my opinion was the greatest homegrown WWE tag team point blank period. You could sit there, now I know people are going to sit there and say, well, what about the Hardy Boys? Or what about Edge and Christian? Number one, and this is just my opinion, is that the New Age Outlaws, and I don't want to, jump in too much with New Age Outlaws, but with them, they were such a team that have been so great over the years that when you put them together, even back in like 2014, 2015, they were still level. It wasn't like, oh, well, this wrestler is better than that one. It's not like a Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels situation. Both of them were doing an even playing field. You can't sit there and say that with the Hardy Boys because people are always going to say Jeff is better than Matt. You can't say that with the Dudleys because they'll always say Bubba is better than Devon, or Edge and Christian because they'll always say Edge is better than Christian. But with the New Age Outlaws, you always felt like they're set, like both of them. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
I could see it. I could see that now. I hadn't thought about it like that, but I can see that now. Okay. Even though Billy's still wrestling, he's still
but still, I mean, like I said, as far as notoriety or fan love, they are even. You feel me? It's not like one's going to drown out the other.
Yeah, if they were to come back together now for a one-off, I think it would still be
Exactly.
on that level. Yeah, I can see that.
And then, just with the DX thing, that was a revolution. Did they drive it into the ground eventually? Yeah, they did. But then he was able to, beat the game, and then the cerebral assassin, and then the King of Kings, which is more or less the same type of character, just different monikers, and the way he dressed kind of changed up a little bit in the evolution stage where he was wearing a suit and tie and he had that nasty facial. I hated that. I was just like, dog, you look. I know he got that from what's the dude, Motorhead, the guy. He got it from him or whatever. But it was just like over the years, multiple time champion, and then not only utilizing his power within WWE to just only keep himself over, but then to bring in the next class of professional wrestling, and trying to keep professional wrestling in WWE, which he did with NXT. Right. So I mean, Triple H has definitely shown like that he is definitely worth the top 5 for me, and so that's why he's in my group.
Well, I don't know why I'll be honest, for a long time, I had a problem with Triple H. And it wasn't terrorizing in WCW was a terrifying experience to even witness. And I didn't realize that.
You do know that was one of his names, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't realize it was him for a while. And I was like, really?
That feathered blonde hair.
Oh my God. And then his whole thing with Regal, I thought that would have been, maybe that's my problem, because William Regal, I will be honest, he's an honorable mention.
No, let's keep the honorable mention at the end.
Okay. But I thought that he could have, I wish that he had stayed with William Regal longer. And maybe that was just me. Like, I see where his career took off when he got away, but I don't know. We'll talk about that at the end, so I can keep him in the honorable mentions. But I don't know. I just never gravitated towards the Triple H like that. I never did.
You had to be disrespectful. You had to do it. You had to.
It's me. Yeah. I don't understand. Like, you've
known
me long enough.
What can we do? It's fine.
DC, Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? So
bad places, but it's fine.
All right, fair enough. Can't even fight it. All right, so my 5th, and again, this is in no particular order, but my 5th that I have is Eddie Guerrero. And if you know me, you know I'm not the biggest Rey Mysterio fan. Like, seeing him lawn darted into whatever that was that Kevin Nash threw him into was a golden moment for me. But the matches that he did have with Eddie Guerrero in WCW, WWE, Mexico, everywhere Eddie Guerrero went, even when he was, not clean body, we'll go there with that, he could still put on some incredible matches, like the LWO Eddie Guerrero, and his moves, it was like grounded and high flying all at the same time.
Right.
Like, he could fly, but he could also mat wrestle you too. Like, he could take you down. And so that was something that, for me, I hadn't seen a lot at that time. Like, even when he was battling with Chris Jericho, like, I was like, these two, it was a chemistry that he had with a lot of wrestlers, bigger than him, same size as him, or smaller. And you could just tell, like, the work ethic was there. And I loved it. I'm gonna be honest. Like, even when he fought Brock and beat him for the title, like, again, I'm screaming. I cried when he died. It was I had been a fan for some. His music was pretty terrible in WWE, but at least they kept
I liked his music.
I liked his heel music when it started off
music
with
China.
Weird,
when he had the music with China.
Oh, the Latino Heat.
Oh yeah, that was my jam.
All right, I'll give you that one. I'll concede that one, but it was always something about Eddie. My first WCW event that I went to, he was in a dark match, and like, I guess I've seen like in WWE in some of the dark matches, they let you have a little bit more fun and do things to kind of get the crowd into it. Because this was before Nitro actually started. So they were like trying to get us into it. And he had a dark match against Ray. And I don't think I blinked. Like I remember having to go to the bathroom, but I didn't go until the match was over. Because it was just watching him run around and work around that ring with Ray. I was just like, I like him. And he wasn't the tallest dude either. He was stocky as hell, but he wasn't the tallest, and he could go with the big guys. So that's what kept me on the Eddie Guerrero train for the longest time.
Okay.
Dominic's his son.
I feel like it's your mission to somehow get this canceled by saying something. I truly do. You want to say something? Like, you try.
Well, I just slid that in there. It just happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've heard my promos against Spike. it just kind of flows.
Okay. So, my final one. Now, see, I know a lot of people are gonna sit there and already say, yo, are you serious? Like, how was this in your top 5? Now, listen, the reason why I sit there and say this is because sometimes you got to recognize greatness before it's 100% greatness. Maybe it's at 70%, 75% greatness. It's not
still loading.
Yeah, it's still loading. You feel me? And it's like from the accomplishments that they've already made, you got to assume that they're going to be one of the top wrestlers in history. And my last pick is going to be Thunder Rosa. Now, like I said before, the reason why I say this is because she's building upon her greatness. Not only is she the first Mexican-born AEW Women's Champion, but she's also been NWA Women's Champion. She's been on Lucha Underground, where she performed great matches under a mask. And for a minute there, I didn't even know it was her. To Serpent Queen. Like
really?
Yeah, that was Thunder Rosa. Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Okay, then. I didn't know that.
I didn't recognize it either for a minute. And I was like, "Damn, they kind of got the same body shape." Okay, that is her. Okay, and then she confirmed it. So I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that is her." Okay, cool. MMA career, not the greatest, but MMA is MMA. So she has evolved.
Charles Montgomery Punk did MMA. Yeah.
Huh?
Charles Montgomery Punk did MMA. So.
Oh my goodness. So you messed me up. As far as evolution goes in her character, there hasn't really been too much of it. She changed her character up a little bit with her and Holiday when they were tag team partners, with, just changing up the face paint, the matching attires, things like that. When she was brought into the NWA, she was more of initially like the muscle, sort of like the Sicario, and NWA, and then rose up at NWA to become a women's champion, and now in AEW doing these lights out matches, being able to do those, having the fans behind her,
matches she's had with
like having a tremendous rivalry with Britt Baker.
That's the one.
Like that right there, you know what I'm saying? Like they see the value in her, and that's why I have to say, like, she, definitely is in my top 5. Now, like I said, it's early in her career, even though she's around our age, but I think she got like a good 10. She got a good, because I mean, with women wrestlers, they don't stay in the game that long. Like let's be honest, a lot of them don't stay in the game that long. So, you know what I'm saying? You can't quantify greatness based upon the male counterpart, because there's not many women that pull off a 30 joint.
Yeah.
You feel me? That are consistently on TV. Like you don't see that. So I never try to quantify a woman's role in wrestling based upon how long she's been in the game compared to a guy.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't really do it for the guys either, because
sometimes you got to, though.
Sometimes you do, but like I would go back to DDP. Like he was in the game before.
Yeah, but it was building.
Right.
But it was building towards it, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't.
No, go ahead.
I just didn't. I can't put my words together now. Don't worry about me.
Oh my
But
goodness.
he was in the game before, and then he was a valet, and then he was a driver, and then he became like wrestler DDP.
Right. Right. So
But it wasn't like he was wrestling all the time.
But you're in the business though. You know what I'm saying? Like you're building towards that. Same thing with Trish Stratus. I mean, she was a valet at first. She wasn't a wrestler, and then she became
Victoria as well.
Huh?
Victoria.
She was a hoe at first.
I was see now who's trying to get who canceled. I'm
just saying what she was before she. Wait a minute, I'm just saying the role she played because I don't know her personally. I can't say she was a hoe before she started wrestling.
Who's editing this? Are you editing this? We might want to cut that part out.
I don't want nobody to get confused. I'm not saying Victoria was a hoe before she started wrestling. I'm saying she was brought in as one for the Godfather, who was a pimp. Okay? Allegedly. All right.
You leave karma alone.
See, Ken just starts rumors. This is what he does. This is what he do. My goodness. Can we go to honorable mention since we can't be professional here? My goodness. Do you have any honorable mention?
I do. I have a couple.
Right.
My first one is Lord Steven Regal, William Regal. Mm-hmm. I still to this day think that is one of the most underrated dudes that has ever laced up some boots.
Okay.
I've never felt like he got recognition, and I'm not talking about like world titles. It's like people know who he is, but it's not like I don't think they put the respect on his name that they should. Like, I'll never forget the match where he was supposed to be wrestling against Goldberg, and he's just like taking him in the refs like, sir, he's supposed to be smashing you. You're not supposed to be like throwing him around the ring. Like, he really doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Well, I mean, that's just him. And then like the Blackpool Combat Club that's going on now, him on the mic is underrated to me. His best run to me in WWE was when he was the general manager that turned around and won the King of the Ring. The way he sat in the long hair Regal, when he sat in that chair, man, I was like, yeah, that's that. But I was a fan of him when he was a working man with a hard hat on.
That gimmick didn't even last long.
That gimmick was trash, but I mean, the wrestler himself was still there. It's how he wrestles. For me, William Regal is how he wrestles, and I feel like it's been underappreciated because he was a mat tactician that was probably ahead of his time. Like if he was out there when Daniel Bryan first started like really wrestling, I think watching them two go would have had me like just glued to the TV. Even though didn't he train? Well, him and Daniel Bryan are like, or Bryan.
He was trained by William Regal and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but they're like good friends though. Yeah. Bryan Danielson. I'm sorry, I called him by his wrong name.
It's slave name. Go ahead.
This is why we can't be professional. This is why it took us months to do this because we can't be professional.
Oh, you blame him? Go ahead. We're gonna get past it. Okay, that's one of your notable.
That's one of my honorable mentions.
Okay, I had mine in my head and I kind of lost it. Damn it. An honorable mention for me. Oh, Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam. His ECW run, television title ECW run. I mean, just like Jadakiss. I mean, you know, you mentioned the best, and they know who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like
he had the ECW TV title to me on the same playing field as the world title,
or even more at the time, because he was putting out tremendous title defenses, pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view.
He's another one that threw a lot of caution to the wind when he went flying off something.
And he only got injured once in ECW.
Yeah,
that was during his television title run.
And I was baffled by it.
Yeah. Like out of everything, the twisted ankle. I think it was like twisted ankle or something like that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like with Rob Van Dam, he had the moveset. He had the look. He had the fan appeal,
The Greens.
allegedly at the time. Well, now it's legal, but whatever. You know, he had the colorful attires, which definitely helped him stand out from everybody else that was wearing t-shirts and jeans. You feel me? You know, so it was just like, hell, he probably the only dude who was ever in a heel faction and a baby face. They could not turn him heel in WWE. It never worked.
Oh no, there was
couldn't.
no way.
You couldn't turn him heel. There was no way you could.
Not for RVD.
No, you couldn't. He was with the invasion angle.
Yeah, and they still cheered him.
They always cheered him. They never did.
Never going.
He could have done anything, and they would have cheered it. They would have RVD. They would have cheered him all the time. It would just been what it was.
Think about it, I can't think of a time when he was a heel.
Never was. He never was a heel. You can't. How do you make?
You can't. It's impossible. I'm thinking about all the RVD matches I've watched. You cannot. There's no way to make him a heel because every time he does this,
he does exciting moves. You can't boo somebody who entertains you. Like I can understand if like he cuts a promo.
They boo Sammy Guevara.
If he's, I think it's his promos and his girlfriend. Like, no, we're not even gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about that.
Phoenix 630, where he knocked himself out.
Yeah, he definitely knocked himself out right there. But do you have another honorable mention?
I do.
Okay.
I did. My brain. It's the ECW man. Probably my favorite ECW guy, and that's good old Taz. Good old Taz. Because he is not a tall dude at all, but he had a tall man mentality. Now there's another one.
Yeah,
on his
sure,
Regal.
He was 5'9". Sure he was. but hey, listen, I'm not tall either, but sure he was 5'9". It's fine.
Well, never mind. I'm gonna shut my mouth. But Taz. I remember watching him run up on Bam Bam Bigelow, and them two beating each other to death. And you could tell by how he wrestled that he cared about the moves. Like even watch his son now, you can tell that his dad is all up and through Hook. And I'm not just talking about the red rum or the Taz mission. I'm talking about just how the throws, the hips, the Taz. That's all stuff that he's admitted that meant something to him. Like he wants to make it look as real as it. He's got moves named after him.
Right.
Throws are named after this man. So yes, that's
it. You know when you definitely did something in the business when moves are named after.
Yeah, they legitimately have your name. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Another honorable mention for me, and I'm surprised I wasn't thinking about this first, but when you sat there and said Taz, also was like, you know what? There's another wrestler who I enjoyed watching all the time in ECW, who was the franchise of the company, and that's my guy, Shane Douglas.
Yes, sir.
Yo, that was my guy. Like, yo, I enjoyed watching him so much. Like his promo. And here's the funny thing about it, right? Even though I'm a fan of Triple H stole a little bit of his gimmick from Shane Douglas. Like around that time, yo, like in '99, where Triple H started wearing the I don't know, like the Kangol leather hat backwards. He got that from Shane Douglas. Shane had
been doing that.
Shane been doing that like a year prior. Like the whole growing the facial hair and everything. Like that's what Triple H started doing after. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. That's what I've seen. I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't admit to it or nothing. But come on now, come on. So
Shane Douglas is that dude.
Oh yeah, Shane Douglas was definitely the franchise. He cut the best promo. I would say in ECW, him and Raven were right there. And
promo stuff, yeah.
Like they were right there. Like
Shane Douglas made you feel it.
And he can get you heat. Well, he get himself heat. Like I mean, and it's funny because he was able to balance his character with Francine, as opposed to how a lot of wrestlers do nowadays. They don't know how to balance it out because people just hate you because you're being affectionate with a woman on TV. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
Well,
But,
back to AEW.
We leave it alone. But yeah, Shane Douglas was definitely, man. I mean, just his evolution within ECW itself. His WCW and WWF stuff, I don't even care about. But his ECW stuff, point blank, period, it definitely gives him.
He was in TNA for a
honorable
cup of
mention.
coffee.
Definitely his ECW stuff gives him
Okay.
an honorable mention. There we go.
My last honorable mention is the female on my list.
Oh, finally, equality. There you go.
No,
No, it is your first.
we need to do. Well, you added a woman in your top
I did,
five.
so you can't even.
I was gonna say we could do one with the lady top 5.
I mean, we could do that.
Okay. But I gotta throw that honorable mention out to good old China.
Okay.
China, when I got back into wrestling and figured out, like I said, what channels were with the bootleg cable and stuff, and I saw her walking around with Triple H. At first, I was like, "She's the bodyguard." But then, as you continued to watch her, and she was having the intergender matches and won the Intercontinental title, and she was in the Royal Rumble, and I was just like, I don't know why, but that's believable. Like, it was very believable with her, and she just had again, I said it earlier, the charisma to pull it off. Like, she was enough of a presence to pull it off. Even the weird stuff with Miss Kitty, I think her name was.
Yep.
When she tried to be mini China.
Yep. The slave. Remember when China had the master shirt on? She had the slave shirt.
Oh yeah, there we go again. And then her stuff with Eddie Guerrero, during the Latino Heat time, that was good stuff to me as well. So that's my female honorable mention. Not the only favorite female, but a female honorable mention, and for this particular list.
Got you. Well, yeah, that is basically the podcast for today. We put out our top 5. It wouldn't be the Mount Rushmore because Mount Rushmore only has 4 people in it, so top 5. With our honorable mentions, we'll definitely have another episode where we'll go into having the women in there, women exclusive. So that should be interesting because for me, it's kind of difficult to do that. And I think people won't like the answers that I have.
I know they won't like mine.
But as for my co-host Ken Washington, because he's from Baltimore, it's a terrible place. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll also have a link in the description below for Ken Washington's YouTube channel as well, so you can go down there and subscribe as well. He has great stuff on there because there's nothing about the Orioles or Washington. Other than that, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. Catch you on the next episode.
This man sells all the time. All the time.
Oh, goodness.